Well, we had a good Sunday yesterday. It's always, the mood and the attitude's always better coming off a win. But, and I'm happy for our team, obviously getting a win on the road. But we didn't do things perfect, but we are getting better. I think our guys are gaining confidence as we move forward, and we've got a real challenge this week. La Tech is much improved from last year. Skip's done a great job there in a couple of years, losing all those seniors from a couple of years ago and replacing a number of guys, giving themselves a chance to win. And then defensively bringing in Manny Diaz, who does a great job. Was at Texas, 2 years I was at Oklahoma State, so we've gone against that style of defense before, but it is an aggressive attacking style of defense. It forces you to execute and try to avoid lost yardage plays and turnovers. So we got a real challenge for us Saturday, but we're excited about them coming here and seeing, how we can build on last week.
Questions?
This sounds like about the shortest meeting press conference I'm ever going to have today. So.
Is the biggest difference from last year to this year, speaking from La Tech's perspective, is their probably their quarterback and their defense, is that their two biggest areas of improvement over last year?
I would say probably the biggest improvement is just like with us, second year with the majority of their staff. So from the head coach down, I think that enables you to move forward, hearing the same message. Then I think adding the quarterback, they've obviously got the Dixon kid that's a great running back, the Griffin kid that came from South Florida. So they've got a number of receivers that are older. Defensively, adding Coach Diaz, I think, adds an element of confidence. I think he's always had a swagger to him, confidence, and I think their players feed off of that. So, and you see them fly around and enjoy playing and being disruptive. So I think probably it's just second year as a staff. I think adding the quarterback, and then I think just defensively, just what they've done.
Has it been hard from a scouting perspective for you guys, since they've been kind of, Jekyll and Hyde? They lose at home to Northwestern State, they beat North Texas, they beat UTSA. They look good and bad this year. Is it harder for you guys?
Well, they had the Northwestern State game in hand, and they just turned it over. And if you turn it over, you can lose to just about anybody. And I think they would say that. If you turn it over at the wrong time, which they did at the end, and you've already kind of, at that point, kind of counted the win, I wouldn't even look at that. I mean, they dominated that game. So the bottom line is they're a good football team, and they're improving. As they've continued, they've played better and better on both sides. They're doing a good job of taking care of the football. So again, and they're playing hard. So it's going to be a real challenge for us. But like I said, we've continued to play better and better. Not always perfect at times, but we've continued to get better.
You guys lost the turnover battle, but you still won by 10 points. Can you kind of talk about the things that you were able to do to overcome that deficiency?
Well, we were really good on third downs. The last two we didn't convert were third and forever after the snap, and then the last one didn't matter. We took a knee. So we've been much better in third downs. You look at, we always talk about the 5 ways you win: turnovers, explosive plays, third down conversions, touchdowns in the red zone, and lost yardage plays. Other than the snap over our head at the end, we only had 1 lost yardage play. That was 1 sack. Our running backs didn't have any lost yardage plays. Our quarterback didn't have any other sacks. So we were always, other than a couple of penalties, we were always able to stay within arm's length of a first down. We've done that better the last couple of weeks. So the combination of the turnovers and kicking field goals has stopped us in the last couple of weeks from really putting numbers on the board. But again, we've improved. I think a lot of our players have continued to get better, and that's going to happen. I mean, if you think about this, Casey Martin, our leading receiver, was not here in the spring. Mike Thomas, our second leading receiver, was not here in the spring. Marquise Triplett, one of our leading receivers, didn't even go through spring. Kyle Foster wasn't here in the spring. So you've got a number of guys. It was just a matter of time for them to continue to get better. And we didn't have 2 of the running backs weren't here in the spring. George Payne is now healthy. So we got Jalen Richard back. So a lot of those things added to our ability to function better as an offense.
And with those guys that weren't here in the spring, finally starting to catch on and get in the rhythm, and having Jalen Richard back, does that kind of allow you guys to open up the playbook?
Sure it does. Third downs, when you've got an experienced running back, and we didn't have that up until from the first week to the 7th week, it's hard in protections. It's hard to dump the ball down. There was a number of times we got Jalen the ball as our leading receiver because he gets it. He can route run, he can protect, he can catch it, those kind of things. So that enables us to do a number of things. And again, I just think also, just like with them, in terms of who we're playing, stats are skewed. Played Alabama and Mississippi State, two pretty good defensive teams, and that's going to skew it. When you start playing teams in your wheelhouse, you're going to gain some confidence from that, and I think our players are starting to feel that as we move forward offensively.
Casey leading the team in catches. How encouraging was it to finally see him get into the end zone there on Saturday?
It was nice. I mean, he's a good player. He does all the right things we talk about every week. He's a pretty good route runner. He knows what to do. He knows how to get open, and likes to play the game. So that gives you confidence. It enables you to be steady offensively. You can play to certain things that he does well.
After the game and on the trip back, what was it like from the players as far as emotionally? Were they just, I know they're physically worn out, but the emotional, what did you feel from them?
Oh, it certainly wasn't like last year at UAB. I mean, that was different. We were on 11 and, last game of the year and, after the streak and all that. But it was rewarding. I mean, it's hard to do what you do on an everyday basis and not reap the benefits of your hard work. So that's the fun part of our business, singing the fight song in the locker room with your team, seeing them, all the hard work and smiles on their face. So all it means, though, is that we've come a long way in a year and a half, and it just means this week's bigger. That's the fun part about it. I told the team that. I said, now this week's bigger. There's something to play for. You got to get close enough to where you're playing for something. And this week's a big game for us. It's a West Division game, and it's the next one on the schedule.
And they're the first team, they're in first right now in the West Division, and you've got the whole rivalry and all that stuff, so not worried about the guys losing focus, I would imagine.
No, I'm not. We're not in any position to think whether we have focus, lost focus. I have no idea. Bottom line is they're next. I mean, we've got to continue to do the things that we've done each week to get better and eliminate some of the things we're still doing that stop us from being even better, which are self-inflicted. Alignment, assignment, those kind of things that stop you from being as good as you can be, because it's still a matter of doing it better than they do it, unless you just think you're more talented, which we are not. We have enough talent. We've got good players, but we're not capable of just rolling the ball up there and going and winning. So how do we eliminate some of the things that stop us from being the team we want to become and can become?
Jason mentioned rivalry. Is that the case this week? That's what I know? It's been talked about, the rivalry in Dixie.
I think everybody's dying for something to be called a rivalry. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know. Usually rivalries occur either by close proximity or it means something. Rivalry, what does it mean in terms of winning the division, winning the conference, if you've got two good teams? Proximity, I know by proximity, yes. By recruiting, yes. By we've got ties there, yes. So is it natural to think that could develop into a rivalry? Yes. Is it there yet? I don't know. I think that it's two teams that are trying to take another step forward in year 2 of their program, and that's what both of us are doing.
Are you still taking it slow with Jalen, or do you see him stepping back into more of a full-time role this week?
Well, again, I think we got into trouble earlier in the year with whether it was George or Ito carrying the ball too much. And so, first of all, part of that was our running backs have to take care of the football. Understand that's their first priority, is take care of the football. But then I thought we did a much better job this past week with personnel groupings and situations of who we wanted in the game. So we lessened the load a little bit and played to their strengths, and I see us continuing down that path.
Some people have praised the offensive line for the last week or 2 weeks. What is your take?
Come a long way. We don't have a lot of them. We probably have, I think, 9 or 10 scholarship players. And they've been banged up here and there. But again, I think the move with Devin Ferry to right guard is stabilized it some, and then our right tackles have rotated. But I think that Cameron Toms continued to come on at center. Brandon Farmer's been steady at left guard, and Rashad Hill's been better, but we've been more consistent. So, and we've got to continue down that path of keeping it simple, doing things well and playing physical. And I think they've had better practices, and it's led to seeing it on Saturday.
For a fan base that's been craving a lot of these kinds of wins, is it too early still to say, you know, halfway to being bowl eligible?
Oh, we're not even halfway to this week of what's important, which is Louisiana Tech. We're not in any position yet to talk about that. The only thing we need to talk about is what Louisiana Tech poses to us offensively, defense, special teams, what we can do better from our end to keep us moving forward. Because again, you don't have to be bowl eligible this week, you just have to be the best team on the field. That's all we have to be this week. If you're the best team on the field, and more given Saturdays than not, that'll be a byproduct of what you do. But the moment you start worrying about that or even talking about that, that's ridiculous. It's right now, it's Louisiana Tech.
Dating back to that UAB win, I think you guys have scored 30 plus on the road 3 times, but still not at home. Is there any kind of sense that, you know, maybe your guys almost try like too hard to, you know, perform well here at home, or is there any reason the offense doesn't perform quite as well?
No, I don't know. UAB kept giving it back to us. That helped us. You know, they kept turning it over. So that made it a little bit easier. Last game of the year, Middle Tennessee, you know, we screwed it up early and then found a way late. And then this week, I don't know. We had every opportunity against Rice to score more than we did, so we just didn't. So, and we're getting better. So I don't really see it that way. I just know that we're getting better.
As you guys are progressing and getting further into this season, further into your tenure here, is from my vantage point, it looks like players are getting shorter leashes maybe when in games when somebody does something wrong. It's almost like, you know, in the past they were given a few more plays where now it's like, get them out of there.
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, obviously the running back position, if you're going to fumble the football, then you're going to be on a short leash because it's the number one way you lose football games. Obviously not with Nick, because Nick's our best player offensively, so we're not going to do that. I think the more competition you have, the more depth you have, the more I think it allows you to, guys got to understand they've got to produce. We're in a business where we've got to produce. I've got to produce, they've got to produce. It's the way it is. But I wouldn't say that we've had a shorter leash. Maybe really, I guess you could say maybe with the running backs, but that's because we're trying to find a guy that can be an every down guy. So I don't know if there's been any difference that way. Maybe there has, I just haven't noticed it.